Take questions for LeBron. First question here in the second row.
Hey, LeBron. Phil Barber, Santa Rosa Press Democrat. The core of this Cavs team has remained consistent the last few years, but you've got a lot of new teammates on this team from a few months ago. Are you confident that your teammates can mentally reset after this tough loss and be where they need to be for Game 4?
I mean, it's definitely a tough loss, and we had our chances. But we have another opportunity on Friday, to win on our home floor. We've been, pretty good, throughout the postseason, that's a good thing for us that we have an opportunity to, extend the series. But we got to come out and we got to play for 48 minutes. We know this team that we're going against are, the best. First of all, the best third quarter team in the NBA, and once again they showed that tonight by outscoring us by 8 after we had a lead at halftime. So we have to be dialed in and play like we did the first half and in the fourth quarter tonight.
Robert in the middle.
Robert Littal, BSO. You twisted your ankle pretty badly there in the first half. How is that feeling? And Kevin Love was just in here, and he talked about the margin of error being so small with the Warriors, especially in Game 1 and Game 3. But how does that give you guys confidence going forward, knowing that how close you actually were to winning those games?
I mean, to answer your second question first, the margin of error is very low. I mean, you can't. It's almost like, playing the Patriots. You just can't have mistakes. They're not going to beat themselves. When you're able to either force a miscue on them, you have to be able to capitalize, and then you have to be so in tune and razor sharp and focused every single possession. You can't have miscommunication. You can't have laws. You can't have my faults or my bads and things like that, because they're going to make you pay. And when they make you pay, it's a 3-0 or 6-0 or 9-0 run, and it's, and it comes in bunches. So, the room for error is just, you just can't have it. And we know throughout the course of a 48-minute game there are going to be plays where, it was a miscue there or it was a miscue there. But, for the most part, throughout 48 minutes, you just can't have a bunch of those, especially against this team. To answer your first question, yeah, I twisted it pretty good, but I'll be in the lineup on Friday.
Joe here in the front.
LeBron, two questions, and both are bigger picture. First, now that you've been in this series with Durant and the Warriors now twice, can you articulate just how Durant has changed the complexion of this series and rivalry?
Oh, well, I mean, guys, you guys asked me what's the difference between the Warriors. You guys asked me this last year. What was the difference between the Warriors the previous year and this year? What was my answer? All right, there it is. Kevin Durant was my answer. He's one of the best players that I've ever played against, that this league has ever seen. His ability to handle the ball, shoot the ball, make plays at his length, at his size, at his speed. So there it is.
And then the other one, I understand you guys are down 3-0, but you've been very close twice, and they almost lost in the Western Finals. And so the question is, are they at all maybe more vulnerable than you thought they were earlier in the year, mid-year, something like that?
At the end of the day, if you want to compete for a championship or win a championship, you got to go through the champion. And they're the champion, and no matter, everyone gets so caught up on saying they're vulnerable or they're not playing so well, and then they go down 3-2, and then they go to somebody else's floor and win, or they win at home and send it back to somebody else's floor and win in a Game 7. That's what championship teams do. That's what championship players do. They rise to the occasion, and that's what Golden State has done the last 4 years.
Tim, back right.
Tim Reynolds, AP. Bron, even for someone like you who notoriously can have singular focus on one thing more often than not, how difficult will the next 48 hours be to just lock in on Game 4, not think about how 1 and 3 got away or what might happen this summer? How tough will it be even for you to stay in this moment?
Well, Tim, I mean, for me, tonight will be tough. Tomorrow I'll replay some plays and some moments, things of that nature. When I wake up Friday morning, I'll be locked in on the game plan and what needs to be done to help our team win. And that's just who I am. And the rest of the night will be tough. Not sure what time I end up getting to bed. Tomorrow we come in, we watch some film, so it'll replay in my mind, throughout the day. But Friday morning when I wake up, I'll be locked in and ready for Game 4.
Dave standing on the left.
Dave McMenamin, ESPN. LeBron, do you just tip your hat when KD makes the same shot from the left wing he made in Game 3 last year? And how difficult is a shot? He may make it look pretty attainable, but how difficult a shot is that?
No, that wasn't the same shot. The one he made tonight was about 4 or 5 feet behind the one he made last year. Last year, you know, we were up 2, and you know, he pulled up pretty much right at the three-point line. I got a great contest, but he made it. Tonight, you know, they're up 3. He come off a pick and roll, and he just stopped behind it, pour about 4 or 5 feet behind the three-point line. So, you know, same wing, different location, but you definitely tip your hat. I mean, that's what he does. He's a scorer. You know, he's an assassin, and that was one of those assassin plays right there.
Ray Jeske, ESPN 990. Last game, Steph goes off, an NBA Finals record 9 threes. This time you hold him to 1 of 10, and another guy goes off. Defensively, what can you do to stop enough of them to a degree that you can have more points than they at the end of the game? And also, would you speak to Rodney Hood's contributions tonight?
That's the challenge right there. That's the challenge, and you know, and that's why they you know, retooled this team, went out and got KD to where there's really not much pressure on, you know, I don't want to say any of them to score, but if one of them have a bad game, then they got 3 or 4 guys that can actually pick up, you know, the load. You know, and as you've seen, you know, with KD picking it up today, you know, and Steph picking up in Game 2, they all have the ability to, you know, and we can't ever forget about Clay as a guy who scored 40 and a quarter before. So that's the luxury of having guys like that you can always, any given moment, to kind of, you know, go off for a game. And even though we held Steph, you know, to 1 3 tonight, the one he made was huge, huge. And so, you know, we got to continue to, you know, just, you know, grind and defend as we did tonight. I mean, out of their 9 threes made, KD had 6 of them. You know, they were 9 for 36. You know, and that's, you know, pretty dang on good. You know, holding that team, you know, to that shooting from the three-point line. But we got to do a little bit, you know, add a little bit more and keep grinding. To your second question, I thought Rodney Hood was Rodney Hood tonight. That's his. That was Rodney Hood, man, and you know, he was just aggressive from the beginning when he got in the game. Even though he missed his first 3, he had a wide open shot, but he just continued to push and push, and you know, his athleticism and his length and his touch around the rim. You know, it was I think more than just what he did for the team. I think for himself, I think that was just a huge moment for himself, and that was good to see. That was great to see, actually.
Last 2, Mark, and then Chris here in the third row.
LeBron, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. Knowing that you have that tremendous recall of moments in games, can you describe what was in your mind both tonight and last year when Kevin Durant launched that shot from the wing?
I actually think you should be like a psychiatrist. You want to just keep trying to get in somebody's mind. That's the whole thing, huh, Mark? What's in my mind, miss it so we can get the rebound.
Did it feel like last year to you? Did you think of it at that moment?
No.
Chris, last question over here.
LeBron, Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Going back to the margin for error thing, when you're playing against a team like the Warriors, how much stress do you feel throughout the course of the game? And is that something that can wear on you mentally in a way that it doesn't for other opponents?
Can I say it again, please?
The margin for error, knowing that it's small going into a game, can you talk about the level of stress that you feel throughout the course of a game knowing that? And does it wear on you mentally in a way that it wouldn't with other opponents?
Well, I can take it back, kind of the battles that I had with the Spurs when I was in Miami. You just knew that they wouldn't beat themselves. You just knew that, like, every possession when we was playing, you know, San Antonio, when I was in Miami, you just knew that if you made a mistake, Manu, Tim, Tony, Pop would make you pay. And at times they did make us pay, and then you sprinkle in what Gary Neal did to us one game, what Danny Green did to us one game, then Kawhi. You could never relax, you know. And when you have great basketball players, but also that can also think the game and be very cerebral about the game, that's what adds the level of stress, because you know that you can never, ever relax. And you should never want to relax. I mean, it's the finals, it's the playoffs. Even if it's a regular season game, you should always want to be on your toes. That's what part of competition is all about. So it adds to the level of stress. So when you have, Timmy D and Manu and Kawhi and Manu, and now you have Draymond and Clay, Steph and KD, and then you sprinkle in Iguodala and Livingston and all those guys as well, it adds a level of stress, because you know that you can never relax, and if you relax, they make you pay, and making you pay could cost you a game, so it's tough, but it's all part of the competition, which I love, and which I continue to lace them up every night. So, but hopefully I got your answer for you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, LeBron.